Imagine flying a Navy seaplane into a blinding Antarctic snowstorm. That's exactly what happened in 1946, as 9 U.S. servicemen embarked on a covert mission to claim parts of Antarctica for America. As the storm thickened and visibility dropped to zero, the crew's worst fears came true. The plane slammed into a mountain. The wreck scattered across the frozen wasteland, leaving survivors battered, freezing, and isolated in one of Earth's harshest environments. But what followed was a survival story for the ages. 6 men enduring 13 brutal days in sub-zero temperatures, facing hunger, injury, and despair as they waited to be rescued. Let's dive into this unbelievable true story of courage, grit, and determination. Part 1. Mission Antarctica. Just a year after World War II, the U.S. turned its gaze to Antarctica, a vast, unclaimed continent full of strategic and scientific potential. In December 1946, Operation High Jump was launched. 13 naval ships, 33 aircraft, and 5,000 men were deployed on a secret expedition to survey, establish outposts, and lay American claim to the land. One of the mission's early flights was the George I seaplane, crewed by 9 men: pilots, machinists, radio men, a navigator, a photographer, and the captain. Battling intense cold, their plane couldn't rise above 300 meters. After 3 hours of flying, they reached the coast, only to meet even worse weather. The aircraft's altimeter gave false readings due to the ice mass below, tricking the pilots into thinking they were still 300 meters above ground. In reality, rising terrain loomed directly beneath them. As the pilot prepared to turn back, the aircraft struck a mountain. A violent explosion ripped the fuselage apart. 5,000 liters of fuel ignited, and flaming debris scattered across the ice. 2 crew members, Henderson and Lopez, were tragically killed instantly. The remaining survivors were injured. Pilot Frenchie suffered severe burns, and Fred Williams had a broken back and head wounds. Survival seemed unlikely. Part 2. Enduring the freeze. With pure instinct, the survivors turned the broken tunnel section of the aircraft into shelter. They rigged a parachute as a windbreak, recovered sleeping bags and canned rations from the wreckage, and braced for the worst. Unable to move, Williams was insulated with debris and blankets. Hours later, he quietly succumbed to the cold, leaving just 6 men. Their only hope now was rescue, but their ship, the Pine Island, was 500 kilometers away. Finding the crash site in Antarctica's treacherous conditions would be like searching for a needle in a frozen haystack. Still, the survivors pressed on. Frenchie's burns were severe. He couldn't eat or speak, but he never stopped trying to boost morale. Robbins, one of the crew, managed to recover a gas stove and siphon fuel to cook basic meals: spinach soup and peanut butter sandwiches. On day 4, the skies finally cleared. As they buried their fallen comrades beneath the snow, they placed metal objects in the graves, hoping search planes would detect them using magnetic instruments. Food supplies were dwindling. Robbins scavenged through the debris and found a camera belonging to the late photographer. He took photos of the crash site, hiding the film in his sleeping bag, hoping the world would one day see it. Part 3. Rescue in sight. By day 7, conditions improved around the Pine Island, and a search plane was dispatched. It flew a grid pattern based on the last known coordinates, but fog rolled in as it neared land. Back at the crash site, Frenchie, delirious and frostbitten, murmured that he heard a plane. He hadn't, he was dreaming. But he was right. The aircraft passed within 20 kilometers of them. The storm returned and morale dropped. The crew built a signal fire and painted a message on the wing, desperate to be seen. Then, finally, on day 13, hope arrived. Part 4. The final march. While eating their meager breakfast, just a few slices of apricots, they felt the ground rumble. A rescue plane appeared overhead. The 6 men emerged from their shelter, waving frantically. But the plane couldn't land on ice. Instead, a message was dropped. If you can walk 10 miles north to the lake, form a circle. If you cannot, form a line. They formed a circle. Frenchie was secured to a sled, and together, they began their most difficult journey yet, pulling him through deep snow for nearly 12 hours. Guided by occasional supply drops, the crew reached a sheer cliff. Just when all hope seemed lost, they spotted a narrow path leading down to the lake. At the bottom, 2 rescuers emerged from the mist. After 2 excruciating weeks, they were saved. A legacy, and all 6 survivors returned to the ship. Their story became one of the most astonishing tales of survival in modern history. The bodies of the 3 fallen crew members remain where they were buried, now sealed under more than 100 meters of snow and ice. The camera Robbins found never made it out, its photo still hidden in the frozen remains of George 1, waiting to be discovered. To this day, no recovery mission has ever returned to that remote, frozen graveyard.